Hey guys, welcome back. Today we have a winter project for you. We're going to teach you how to make a sweater that has a coil on the inside, and using a battery you can warm yourself up. Now this coil is actually pretty good and it can get kind of hot, so we're going to teach you everything from step 1 to step 2 and take the safety precautions and everything else. You can visit our website at hm-innovations.com. The first thing that you got to do is get a 20 gauge copper wire. It's enamel coated, and it has to be enamel coated so it's not fully making contact with your skin. And you're going to have to remeasure or pre-measure your wire. And once you do, you're going to have about 5 or 6 feet of wire, and it's all going to be tangled in a coil, so just be careful not to mess it up. So you're going to measure about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the left shoulder on your sweater, and you're going to start weaving in and out the copper wire. Now you have to make sure that this is going in between the middle layer and not all the way through. We'll show you in a minute. Once you go make your first incision, you want to pull everything all the way to the end, and then you want to make a small knot with the wire at the very, very end, and this is going to prevent it from coming out later on whenever you continue on weaving in and out your cable. So once you have the knot intact, it's not going to be coming out. So now the next step is to go across your chest from left all the way to the right. And as you can see here, the coil is actually underneath the first layer of the sweater. It's not all the way through. If you turn it around, you really can't see the copper wire on the opposing end. And that's going to be the best thing that you can do, because you don't want to have full contact with your skin. Otherwise you can get a pretty bad burn, or we don't want you to get hurt. So make sure that it stays on the first layer. And we're going to do this up and down. So we're going to go all the way across, and then we're going to come down 1 inch and go all the way to the left one more time in a zigzag pattern. And this is how it's going to look once you're done. We only went ahead and covered the chest area down to the middle, because anything below that, you really don't need protection, or you don't need to be warm on your stomach or any of that. So all the way to the very right, that's where we ended our zigzag pattern, and we're going to go all the way to the top to about 1 inch and 1 inch. And this is how it's going to look once you have everything put together. Now you can't see it very well because it's green and the sweater is black, but it's going to be at the very top. The cable is going to come out about 1 inch from the shoulder pad. And we did the exact same thing on the back side of our sweater, the exact same pattern on a zigzag pattern from left to right, and that goes about halfway as well. And now the next step is actually going to get the battery installed and everything else. So we're going to use a 9-volt battery holder, or the connection, 9-volt battery connection, and we're going to connect the rear and the front end of our coil, or our copper wiring, and we're going to solder the connections together. So we're going to make this connection, and then we're going to test it out by putting on a battery, a 9-volt battery. And you're going to feel the copper wire begin to heat up after a couple of minutes. And if everything works properly and you start feeling the heat, then everything has been made correctly. Otherwise you have a problem with either your battery or the connection. That's about it. So the next step is going to go ahead and cut the red wire, or the positive lead, and we're going to install a switch. We went by Radio Shack and we got this switch for about $1.50. And when we got everything together, it looked pretty sweet. So this is how it looks after you have your switch installed and everything is ready to go. That's going to be your on and off switch for keeping your sweater hot or cold, whichever you want to have. So this is how it looks. And now we're going to go ahead and grab an Eclipse mince. They're the mini mints. And the reason we're going to be using one of these is because it has a small little hole, and we'll show you in a minute. But the first thing that you got to do is put on the switch on the side of your box. And this little box is there for your protection, just in case the battery does decide to explode. We used this for a while, and we still haven't had any problems with the battery. But just in case it does explode, you're not going to have acid going down your sweater or on your shoulder. It's all going to be inside of this tin case. It's amazing. We really recommend it. You don't have to have one, but please have one just in case the battery decides to blow up on you. As you can see, it's sealed on the bottom, and the battery, the 9-volt battery, fits perfectly on the inside of this box. So, the next thing is to make a small pocket onto the right shoulder of our sweater. And this pocket is going to be sewn in there, so you have to get a needle and thread and saw everything on here. And you want to make sure that everything is okay, and be careful with your fingers. You don't want to, poke yourself or anything. But our tin box is going to go inside of that pocket. And the 9-volt battery is going to be connected to our connector, the 9-volt battery connector, and then we're going to place that 9-volt battery on the inside of our tin box. And then we're going to test it out by turning on and off the switch. So once the battery goes into the case, once the battery is inside, you can go ahead and test this out and make sure that the switch is working fine. So that's how you get the battery inside of the casing and the casing inside of the cover. And that's how it's going to look. So you can go ahead and turn on your battery and start feeling for heat. Hopefully in a couple of minutes you start feeling up the heat, and it's going to cover everything on the front and on the back. Now whenever you put on a sports jacket or any type of jacket on the inside, hold on one second, we actually had to turn this off in the middle of our video because it started getting a little hot. So you have the sports jacket on the outside, nobody can see the battery, and if you look at it from an angle, you can see the cable or the copper wire on the inside, but if you look at it from the front, you can't barely see it. I mean, it's very difficult to see it, so you can wear this in public if you wanted to, and it works great. This thing keeps you warm, and it worked amazing. But thank you for watching, guys, and visit our website at hm-innovations.com if you're looking for additional help in projects.